Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your presence here and welcome to Akasha and His Son's ongoing Tree of Life classes. Let us begin with an opening meditation. The theme of our meditation is how holy and sacred is our breath. When we qualify our breath, the ability to release on the exhale all that has been difficult, and to inhale that breath of love from our own heart flame. Let us begin. As we close our eyelids, withdraw our attention from the outer world, and let us place in the hands of our beloved presence all the things that we have been addressing today. And together let us welcome God's solutions and miracles, so that when we return our attention to those things tomorrow, those solutions and miracles are in place. And we anchor our attention lovingly into our hearts in deep, loving adoration and acceptance. That there within our hearts is a magic presence, a holy flame, an inner light that waits for our direction. We love and bless the great love flame within our hearts. And we call upon our heart flame to release waves of love up to our beloved I Am God presence, the source of our lives on earth, completing the circle of life. We call upon that heart flame within to be one now with our breath, the breath of life. And we choose to hold sacred our breath and the power that each of us have to qualify actions of our breath. In this meditation, we are choosing on the exhale to release from our minds, our bodies, our feelings out of life all that has been difficult. On every in-breath, we're calling upon our heart flame to expand and to fill those places that we have released with love, divine love. We breathe evenly yet deeply. We have been asked by the Masters, in preparation for greater peace and harmony and living lives without conflict, we are qualifying our breath this year so holy that on every exhale of our breath, by the power of the flame within, we are choosing to release all anxiety, all concern, all worry. On every in-breath, on every inhale, We are breathing in the love of our own heart flame, releasing the old and being filled with the new sense of love that comes directly from the holy flame of God within our hearts. We acknowledge that as creator beings, any negative thoughts or feelings or spoken words have become part of our energy system. And that energy has registered in our mental body, our physical body, our emotional body. And yet the choice is ours. A choice we invite ourselves to make. A choice made so deeply within our beings. I choose peace. I choose to be at peace with my history, my past. And through the law of love, mercy, and forgiveness, I choose to be at peace with others. I choose to be at peace with my Creator. And as I exhale all that is an offense to peace, I inhale the peace-compelling presence of divine love. Breathing evenly. On every exhale, all that has been difficult or limiting or negative that has registered in my mind, my body, my feelings, on every exhale, I am releasing that qualified energy, creating open spaces within me. And on every in-breath, I am breathing into those spaces, sacred space, the love of the holy flame of God that abides within my heart. Exhaling the old, inhaling the new. And all that is the family of love, peace, joy, harmony, compassion, and more. I am conscious that the flame of divine love within my heart knows all the qualities of love. I am choosing, I am qualifying, I am remembering that all throughout this year, the hundreds and thousands and millions of breaths I take, every exhale, I'm releasing more of a long history stored in the mental, emotional, and physical bodies. Releasing the last of that history. And sometimes within that history that is registered in us is a consciousness of lack, of limitation. Sometimes a consciousness of confusion, of doubt, of uncertainty. All of this from an old consciousness of fear. How sacred is my breath, the breath of life. And in these sacred moments, I invite the Holy Spirit to breathe with me every breath this year. Through the power of the Holy Spirit and the great love flame in my heart, I am breathing out, I am exhaling all that has been difficult, all that belongs to an old consciousness of fear, letting the last of it go. And in those spaces that are emptied through the power of sacred fire breath and release, on every in-breath, I am breathing into those sacred spaces the magic presence, the love, divine love, and all its sacred qualities of my own heart flame. Breathing out the human consciousness, breathing in the Christ consciousness. Breathing out the human consciousness and its duality. Breathing in the Christ consciousness and its perfection. I love and bless the power of the holy breath of God. I have chosen that this year is a breakaway year for me. Breaking free of a consciousness of good and evil. Embracing the full and expanding consciousness of light and love. I am. By all God's love, I know I am a being of light, a being of love, a being of life. And I am saying yes to life. I am. By all God's love, I know I am a creator being. I am consciousness. I am spirit. I am soul. And as I breathe out the old this year, and inhale the consciousness, the magic presence, the holy flame of love, I am expanding. My consciousness is expanding. My spirit, my soul. And as the light, as the love, as the life of the I am that I am increases in me, the immortal nature and the nature of omnipresence, omniscience, omnipotence expands within my consciousness and seeks fulfillment in my experience side of life. I am a creator being, an architect, and I am entrepreneur. Breathing out the old and breathing in a love that has found its freedom within my heart, a flame that now burns brightly, that releases a great inner light and miracle love. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. And in these precious moments, I welcome the presence of angels. I love the angels. And I know that one day my sight will be so raised with the expanding light and love and life in me that I will see the angels. Yet I already accept their existence. And I invite the angels to come as close to me and to all my loved ones as we are to each other. Come, beloved angels, guardian angels, sacred fire angels, healing angels, the seraphim, the cherubim, the angels of the music of the higher spheres. And from the center of the universe, the great central sun's angels of the immortal flames of cosmic Christ love. Come, blessed angels. I am so grateful that I have discovered that the angels are here partly to assist us, to be of service, to help us to fulfill our higher purpose, our destiny, and the divine plan that God has for each of us. And we welcome that magic presence touch of the angels upon our lives, and we love them and bless them. And we complete our contemplative meditation by taking a moment and holding a higher vision for friends, family, and loved ones. I bring into my awareness, my mind now, the names of 4 to 5 individuals in my life. And as I see their faces or register their names within my mind, I am calling forth continuously unfolding, miracle-making moments into the lives of my loved ones. I am holding a higher vision for each one, allowing my attention to rest upon their image, their name. And I call forth continuously unfolding, miracle-making moments for my loved ones in deep gratitude. Good evening, beloved roses. Akasha is with you. I welcome you to our ongoing Tree of Life class. Your messengers have just returned from the Rose Nation of Alberta, where we gathered with many of the roses in Calgary, Alberta. A fulfilling evening. And as the weekend, forgive me, and as the evening began on the Friday, as the messenger was making his way up to the stage, I whispered to him for a few moments, and I said, "Just talk yourself, son." I know that he does not always appreciate that. He likes to think about what he thinks he needs to talk about. And he did speak for 20, 30 minutes, and I think he did very well. There was even a little bit of feisty attitude came through. And I will agree with the son and say, attitude can be wonderful as long as we have a healthy attitude and we have measurement to our attitude. In the weekend, as promised, the goddess of charity, mighty Neptune, beloved mighty Victory, and Lord Maitreya were all part of discourses and presentations. And as well as once again anchoring within the blessed students there, and there was quite a number of new students who received for the first time the miracle mantle of love's mastery, and reviewing the many gifts that have been placed and helping the students to again to remember that when an ascended master or an angel offers you a gift, it must come to you as a form of energy that has been qualified to act in accordance to your acceptance, your acknowledgement, and your willingness to remember that gift and invite its action in you. Those gifts can come upon an electronic ray or a magnetic ray. What was expanded upon in Calgary is that when one first receives from an ascended master, and if any of you feel you have not received this, at any moment you can invite it. The Ascended Master's miracle mantle of love's mastery. When one receives it, it is an electronic ray that is implanted in the upper chest cavity. And what we expanded upon this weekend was that that electronic ray not only serves like a mantle where gifts are placed on it, that electronic ray will expand around the chest cavity, dipping into the diaphragm, forming an actual heart. And it is not only what is placed on that miracle mantle, it is everything that is placed within the area, the vicinity of that miracle mantle that comes under the ascended master energetic activational pressure that upon your remembrance of those activities, upon your gratitude, and upon your calling every one of those gifts to expand, then those gifts release a radiation, a luminosity of their qualified gifts, and that radiance, that luminosity, then passes through the flesh substance of your physical body into your mind, into your feeling side of life, where those qualities increase their presence inside your multi-body system. Reviewed too was some of the gifts that have been given in the past. The white fire rose of eternal happiness. Saint Germain's amethyst jewel of honor. The pearl, the precious pearl of diamond shining purity. For example, all of these tiny little electronic patterns that release a frequency, a radiation. And of course, added this weekend, under the authority of the great goddess Charity, was the essential harmony, the actual flame of harmony, placed inside a tiny little crystal vase, and then placed upon that miracle mantle. I do ask you, precious hearts, to understand that when you are dealing with the power of your presence, the power of an angel, the power of an ascended being or great cosmic being, size does not matter. You can have a power, a gift the size of a tiny pearl. Yet if loved and acknowledged, that abides within my miracle mantle, love's mastery from the goddess of purity, is a tiny pearl, a pearl of diamond shining purity and beauty, that when remembered and acknowledged, releases its qualities within my outer self. If you fully understand what has been expanded upon here, that miracle mantle actually forms a heart around the chest and dips into the diaphragm. Do you understand? Then you will understand too that lantern of light placed over your heart flame, the gift of the Jesus the Christ, is also part of your miracle mantle. On the Saturday, in my last discourse in Calgary, with certain deliberation, I chose to become very serious with the students. We have a good, strong, healthy chapter in Alberta. And I said to those precious hearts that the Radiant Rose Academy that holds the platform to usher the dispensation of divine love back into the world. I said this is a serious path. It is a serious school and requires serious students. Over the last year, we've talked about the expansion of the student body. I've offered my deep gratitude to each of you who've become members of the Academy and have formed such a strong foundation. And I released more information this weekend in Calgary about spiritual teachers of other paths that are hearing about the Academy and hearing about the students of the Academy. And they are all one in what they hear and what they say. And I mentioned that even those big teachers such as Dwayne Dyer and more recently Deepak Chopra have become aware of the Radiant Rose Academy and some of the students. Jay-Z Knight, Ramtha, is aware. Jack Purcell, Lazarus community, is aware. Children of the Sun organization is aware. And there's another organization that is aware. I will just say it is the SGF organization. And because they yet think that they're the only one, yet they have come to understand that there is a growing student body. I said to the students on Saturday in Calgary, from the director to the messengers, the teams, the coordinators, all the volunteers, the staff, there is an accepted message that has come forth from a son and I, that this student body requires a strong foundation. Each of you are part of that strong foundation. I have sought all of you to understand that thousands of years ago, beginning 37,000 years ago, and ending 25,000 years ago, in that 12,000-year period, a son and I, as cosmic beings, we came to your world. We did not come into the outer civilization. We did not come into the outer mass. We came into an area of Greece known as Delphi, an area that had been cleansed and then hermetically sealed. And for this long period of time, there would be no traveling in and out of this area. The only way that you could get into Delphi was to be born. And we came into embodiment. And we handpicked dozens and dozens and dozens of individuals who served as parents. Parents of 25,000 people who came to Delphi. 25,000 who stayed with us for 10 to 12,000 years, making first contact after millions of years of separation, making first contact with schools of inner wisdom. And the 7,000 now strong student body of the Academy, you were all there. There was another 18,000 of you. So I was said, and the son said, the last 2 years, there's 25,000 of you, and this, they all must find their way. And they are. There was a great expansion in the numbers in the last 2 years. And so the Academy has heard, you have to be ready. You have to be ready. I, Akasha, am whispering into the consciousness or inner hearing of individuals who have not yet found me in this embodiment. I am working with the great God presence in their heart that gives them promptings to be at certain places at certain times, so that they may find that covenant that they agreed to thousands of years ago, and reappear on this earth in these magical times and fulfill one of the most ancient covenants. The name of that covenant is Delphi. And scrolls and scrolls and scrolls of this covenant exists, of individuals in golden ages past who have been tested and tried and initiated, individuals who have been culled from a mass of humanity and tested to see if they had the inner strength to face the light, become the light. And then strengthened by the light, guided by the light, find the missing link that has been missing from every single spiritual path in the past, except for maybe 5 to 7 individuals every 100 years, who, using their spiritual paths and enough effort and pressure, found their freedom into the ascension. You are all, and you continue to be invited to be part of the most serious spiritual organization that has, not as episodes of specialty, rather episodes of functionality that must include in your studying your curriculum the ability to remove the veil in your mind. No spiritual path in the world offers the understanding of the door to everything. Some books have been written, not from a point of experience, a point rather of description. Some proverbs have been written, Solomon, of the experience, of what exists beyond the door to everything. Ah, the soul. And if the soul is the greater heart of each of you, if the soul is the fertile waters of life, the source of genius and fulfillment that is just beyond the heart, and if there be a veil between yourselves and your soul, which there is for everyone on the earth, that veil, it is impossible that it be in your heart. That veil is in the mental body. And so this is a serious path for serious students with a serious curriculum that offers each of you the studies, the means, the ways, and more what you are going to see this year, activations, divine frequencies, and a marriage between the mind and the heart that must be supported between the brain and the heart and the mind and the feeling. This work will be completed at March. In previous activations of this foundation. We have celebrated a partial, somewhat victory of marriage between the mental body and the feeling body. Yet deeper into that marriage comes another marriage, the marriage between the physical brain that interacts with the mental body and the physical heart that interacts with the feeling body. And with that marriage in place, celebrated in this unconditional love of the March Conclave and the assistance of the mighty Saint Germain, then it is within covenant of this student body, because you have been tested, you have been strengthened. And I speak not of tests and initiations and things you've gone through in this embodiment. I'm speaking of past embodiments. Past embodiments that even allowed you to get into Delphi. And then the embodiments that you've lived from 25,000 years ago to now. Why did you? Why were you able to recognize? You see, you don't have this in your current memory, so I'm going to remind you. When Lady Nada was on the earth, princess of the 5th Golden Age 2 million years ago, and when she returned to the earth 975 years ago and lived for 175 years without aging her body, and then taking her freedom in the ascension 800 years before Jesus, how is it possible that all of you and my greater student body were the followers of Lady Nada when she came to the earth? You were her people. How is it possible that you and members of other spiritual organizations too, how is it possible that you were not the ones to reject Jesus 2,000 years ago? You were the ones that accepted. You might have been Jews, you might have been Syrians, or peoples of other countries, but you were the ones who accepted that he was the Messiah. So why is it generation after generation that there is a group of citizens that accept truth, that accept prophets, etc., while there is the ongoing greater mass that doesn't? And is it possible that the multitudes who accepted the Buddha, and let's go back that 10,000 year of the house of David. What about the multitudes who accepted Elijah? The ones who accepted Daniel, one of the greatest prophets of the coming of the Messiah. Who were these groups? Whether it was the prophets, the master, whether it was the Buddha, or whether it is what I have not yet had the full opportunity or the right timing to speak to you of the elders of the First Nations peoples, very sacred beings. So who is these groups that accepts these ones when they show up? Whether they showed up 8,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago. Who is this group that they're the same people? They're the same group. Individuals by the tens of thousands. Remember, precious hearts, you've heard the story. 70,000 years ago, Things were so bad on the earth. Planet Venus was placed to be guardian over the earth. The goddess of Venus was asked by the center of the universe to step in and oversee planet Earth, because the people were upon a course of self-destruction and the possibility of destructing their planet. She sent her son. Her sons are famous. They are the Kumaras. And she sent her son Sanat Kumara to the earth 70,000 years ago. And what was the first thing that Sanat Kumara did? It didn't matter whether you were living on the earth at that time or whether you were living up in the plains of bliss, waiting for embodiment. He sent out a clarion call. The way Sanat Kumara sent that call out, he knew that the only ones who would pick up that call were earthlings, that had some light left in their heart. In a time where such darkness was on the earth, a time in which earthlings had covered over their light in their heart with so much darkness, that's what Sanat Kumara did. He sent out a clarion call. It went to the people of earth. Oh, he knew that only those that had light measured in the heart would pick up that call. And in that clarion call were instructions to come to him and to meet with him, to meet him in light realms, to meet him in Shambhala. And over 25 million responded. Tremendous committees were set up. Plans that you all created with him and other ascended masters to bring forth a seventh golden age. And then would be the great culling of 25 million. How many of you, he said, if we're going to do a seventh golden age, if we're going to devise ways that a light would come to the earth, a love would come to the earth, the holy flames of God would come to the earth, and they would come as visitors from other stars, or the greatest star in all. We must make sure that there are those amongst you, the 25 million of you, who are going to be strong enough. Because when you see them come and you gather around them, you will be taunted, you will be teased, and you will be tortured by the mass of the people. And in that process of thousands of years, depending upon whether you make it through that taunting and teasing and torturing and initiations, that's the culling process. Do you all understand this term cull? And out of the 25 million, it came down to 10 million. And then out of the 10 million, there was a further culling based upon the spiritual paths that would begin to be seeded on the surface of the earth as optional alternatives to religion and education that would begin to open and free people's consciousness. Of all the various optional paths, these were all laid out to you. This all happened between 50 and 75,000 years ago. It was all mapped out. And then it was explained to you how in schools of inner wisdom, the ascension process, the resurrection process, the closing of the heart, the closing of the mind, the closing off to the soul, and all the various spiritual groups that would be formed, and of those groups, there would be those that would seek to achieve many of these things. And then there had to be one path, one student body, who would herald in the arrival of the Mother's presence divine love. And around that group would be those out in the world that would begin to speak of the divine feminine, the Mother's presence, so it would leak its way into the mass consciousness while this was happening. This particular group, the all-seeing eye of God, and with the help of the goddess Venus, it was seen that this group would be the only group that had the ability, the resources, being plugged in, having the heart completely healed and restored. This group that was plugging into the Divine Mother's presence would eventually, first of all, would have the state of mind and state of feeling to start accepting an understanding of the evolution of the soul. Would hear about the various evolutions of the soul, and of course the highest evolution being the radiant rose soul. That group, mentored unto these things, one day a heart would be fully restored. Yet as I said in discourse this weekend and previous week, you do not yet fully appreciate your fully restored heart. You are yet required to have trust in the things that we say to you, that your heart is fully restored. How, if there is a veil, if there is one veil in your mind left, as long as that veil is there, how can you know, how can you experience a fully restored heart? You come to understand how important these two must work together. The mind, the feelings, the heart, the brain. How these must work together. And so the all-seeing eye of God showed Sanat Kumara this is the same group that the only ones that will have the resources to create enough pressure of love from the heart and light from the presence to create that spiritual moment for each one. That spiritual moment in which suddenly there's a flash in your mind. The veil has been pierced. Enough effort has been made. You've created a condition within yourself that's friendly to the spiritual encounter. Your higher discerning intelligence has discerned, now is the moment. And there's that sudden flash of light. That light is so powerful, it descends from on high, uses the pressure of your heart flame, comes up the sacred valve or nerve, from the physical heart into the physical brain, accessing the mind, all the 6th and 7th of the God centers of the brain, all faculties are taken over instantly. The flash of light occurs. As the light settles down, all that you can see. Your eyelids are compelled to be shut. In fact, during that time, you cannot even open them. And all you can see with your eyes wide shut is this amazing set of doors, golden doors. And there is a thunderous sound like mountains rolling. I know that sounds crazy, but it's deliberate so that your intellect cannot bite that one. A sound of rolling mountains. Beyond that door, you can sense it. And it doesn't crowd out your hearing because it's with your inner hearing that you're hearing this. And these golden doors just come closer and closer, as if the pressure of those rolling mountains was thrusting these golden doors, the doors to everything, the door to your soul, right up to you. And then the doors open. And a blazing light, so glorious, so gold. And as your inner sight adjusts, yes, your inner sight has to adjust. At the center of that blazing glory of light is a tiny spark that is pink. And this pink spark begins to build. And out of that pink spark, a rushing out, almost like a roadway of pink light. And you feel yourself walking into this place. Your light body, your higher mental body, your physical body are all united with your feeling body and your heart. And you feel yourself walking through these golden doors. What seems to be a moving escalator of rose pink light, pulling you into that pink star that's becoming greater and greater. And you realize you can feel nothing underneath your feet. You're just being drawn in, pulled in, as you enter the heart of the Mother's presence, the center of your soul. And there you are fed. And it is your first contact since the fall from grace with your soul, all that fills you with genius. There is no path out there that's teaching students of this and giving students what is required in their study and their experiences, in their prayers, their meditations, and the very important coming activations that the great Lord Maitreya spoke into at the end of Calgary, that could prepare you for such achievement. After all, let it not be daunting unto each of you that the covenant of this path, this very serious path that you have chosen, not one of simple enlightenment, not one only that teaches you the soul and one day gives you access to your soul. It is this genius of your soul, the waters of life, that will feed every conceptual idea that you have accepted in the Ascended Master teachings. Ideas of resurrection, ideas of ascension, ideas of immortality, ideas of your body being a vessel, a temple from on high, ideas of throwing off the density and the aging of the physical body, ideas of including your physical body in your resurrection. All these ideas that you're studying in your curriculum, all there is part of your consciousness. And the onrush of the soul of the Mother's presence that seeks one desire. And that's all possibility comes to certainty. The genius of your soul starts to feed these ideas of conception, of resurrection, of throwing off the aging of the body. And now it is possible. Greater ahas, greater realizations, and seeming pressure because of wrong conceptualization is released from each of you as you realize that the great achievement of raising your body from the ashes, of raising your body not from death, but raising your body from aging or decay is possible because that idea is in your mind. You have access to your soul, and the soul is the genius and the source to achieve anything you conceive. It's all coming together. It's all coming together. So a path of enlightenment, of personal spiritual empowerment, a path that leads each of you to the most sovereign experience of God, a path that lifts the veil between you and your soul, the source of genius expressing through you, the opening of the door to everything, your soul. Now you have the spiritual keys, the spiritual resources, the continued intervention from on high, expanding activities of the sacred fire. And now, precious hearts, you are changing so fast that one day you will hold eternal gratitude that right now Mother Mary in the great central sun, she is birthing the idea that all difficulty and all that has ever been difficult for you will be lifted out of you as if it never was. And with all these things in place, grace and a new sense of wonderment about achieving the power of resurrection. And the experience that follows, how is this one? An experience that follows measured release of aging and density that you can observe in 10 minutes. Just the same as you observe that you're feeling unclean and heavy, you've worked all day, you've been out in the mass, you arrive in your home, nothing like getting into a clean shower and showering up and cleaning for 10 minutes and getting out and feeling so much better. You had best conceive the idea now that 10 minutes of soulful food from your soul can give you 10 minutes of washing decay and aging and density from your body as easy as shower can wash off the heaviness and dirt and uncleanliness that can attach to you from a day's work. Do you understand what I am saying to you? Yes. And so I will finish my discourse and say to you, that is why my discourse, 4 o'clock, forgive me, on the Saturday, I said to the students, your academy is getting ready, new offices, new high-end e-commerce systems, new point-of-sale systems. And then I announced, coming this autumn, the complete revamping of the subscriptions and the members area, to the point that every student becomes accountable and responsible, and a recognition You won't be subscribing to classes anymore. You will be subscribing to a new kind of membership where the classes come with the membership. With the realization this is a serious path, it is a serious school, and this school requires serious students. And if you are going to achieve everything that we are putting out before you, passing through the door to everything, enlightenment, the resurrection of your physical temples, and going forth the modern day Messiahs and fulfilling the covenants that each of you signed, then I say to you, we are revising your curriculum. This is a serious curriculum, and you will not achieve your resurrection. You will not pass through the door of everything just because you come to the alchemy class or just because you subscribe to the alchemy class. This is a complete school. It is a complete package, and I will oversee the revamping of subscriptions and memberships, the likes of which the students must understand. This is a curriculum. Let me get serious, beloved students, with this curriculum. Let me get specific with it. Let me get obvious with it. And let me work with your team in making sure that by the end of this autumn, it's not about subscribing to this class or that class. It's about being a member, and the subscriptions to the curriculum come with your membership. And every class must be studied. This is your breakaway year. We are painting this year. This is the most serious university. And if you go off to university, precious hearts, in your lands, you don't use somebody else's notes. You don't go and take books that other students have purchased. You get your own books. As this student body expands, I expect serious students who will acquire a new kind of membership that gives you all the classes. The whole thing is going to be revamped. This is your lifetime that you step off the wheel of birth and death. This is serious, beloved students. And that is why we are saying recently, and I have even going along with a son's phrase and determination when he says before year end, we are going to shake, this is a son speaking, we are going to shake the hell out of you. And what he means is that a consciousness of lack and limitation is hell. And he's going to shake that out of you so that we birth a consciousness of prosperity, of spirit, of soul, of consciousness, of abundance, so that our beloved students have everything they require to be serious members and access all these recordings. In fact, I have no idea how this is going to map itself out. That's not my job, thank God. But I will say, and how the Academy achieves it is up to them. But before year's end, if you're not a member, you will have zero access to any of the classes. Zero. 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 I am making a point with a son. Every student is accountable. Every student is responsible. Just like many of you Vancouverites here, you've done what you've asked. You don't have to pay admission to these events to come and be here and present. And there are many students around the world that wish they were in your situation. And what the Academy has done with each of you has said to you, sign up for full membership, get your transcripts, and come in free at the door. So things are going to change. And for the changes we're going to bring through, we require that each and every one of you are comfortable. That you are comfortable spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, and that each of you are comfortable with your finances. And it's not about numbers. That's the magic. Each of you, and I keep reinforcing with the Son, it's not about numbers. It's about having a comfortable state of consciousness. My precious hearts, I have said to a son, you have got to get these students out in front of their own experiences, instead of having their experiences in which they are nothing but a manifestation of an old past consciousness that is constantly reinserting it into their present. This year, I have said to a son, every one of you need to get out in front of your experiences. Be entrepreneurs, architects, and create a wonderful new experience. So a lot of change is coming. By the end of the reconstruction that gets ready for the wonderful expansion and gets ready for me to receive these 18 other thousand students, I've got to receive them. They signed the covenant. They are part of a group that signed a covenant to be a part of Jesus Christ's prophecies. We've arrived. The time is here. When all of this comes to pass, there will be no more buddy system. Those who are group facilitators in various countries will not be allowed to allow a person to attend their groups without a membership card. Show your membership card. Perhaps a person will be allowed to come once or twice if they're new. And if it resonates, get your membership card. The purpose of groups won't be for students to go and listen to the teachings. That'll be one of the purposes of the groups. The purpose of the groups is for students to gather. I see that not all of you know what I'm talking about. Along with coordinators, there are facilitators. There are students around the world that have group nights in their homes, where once a week they listen to the Tree of Life class, and once a month they listen to the Freedom classes, and they have students come in to listen. Do you understand now what I'm speaking of? And I'll leave you with one thought. I've teased the messenger with this thought. It's up to your academy team to see if I'm right. I have said this: if every student of this academy was compelled to be a member under the new membership in classes, the subscription rate would be cut in half. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you the amount of students who are either on a buddy system, they are not subscribing to classes, they are enjoying the study free, and on and on and on. It's not up to me to reinvent this, but I have said to his son to work with the team and reinvent it. Because this is a serious path. It's a serious school. And if you are going to make these mighty achievements of a lifetime, it requires serious students. And I will pray that each of you will join me. We'll hold the higher vision. We'll let those who need to work out the details work out the details. I planted some seeds in Calgary. I don't usually speak into these things. A son usually does. However, the revamping of membership and subscription is going to be out of this world. Bigger than you've ever seen any change. And the Son and the Messenger has asked me to give it at least some of my will. Because some of you seem to ask, well, what does Mother Akasha think about this? So just to let you know, I'm in full favor. I've long awaited for an academy that is a new entrepreneurial I am university who's serious, whose students are serious. After all precious hours, forgive me, after all precious roses, it only takes 16, that's a 1 and a 6, 16 hours to listen and study to all the classes in a month. 16 hours. Of course, you have to then add in the weekend classes, the weekend events and conclaves. But this year, and I'm going to help, I'm going to provide the will, and that is to shake you free of whatever way that you think, whatever way you feel, the way you conceptualize thoughts, the way you approach things. And I must go now. And I will ask you to ask yourself to look for those words that keep limitation connected and anchored in your experience. And I'll get you started. And I like this word because you're going to have to think about it. And that is, I encourage each of you to evaluate how you use the word only in ways that creates and connects limitation and attaches limitation to you. So you're going to have to think about the various sentences that you use the word only. Well, I only have, do I need to finish? There are certain words that lock, they're locking points, and they lock limitation. Only is one of them. So you might like to liberate that word in a more constructive use. God bless you. I thank you, precious heart. And may each of you, I've said it at least 5 times tonight, so may each of you sometime between now and tomorrow affirm inwardly, and I am a serious student of a serious spiritual path, attending a serious I am university. Thank you very much. God bless you, precious hearts. I thank you.